Welcome to WP Bosses, episode number 17. We're here with Stephen Cronin from Envato. I'll just give you a little quick spiel on what WP Bosses is. The WP Bosses show exists to build and strengthen the WordPress community within Australia. We'll bring you interviews with Aussie WordPress designers, developers, builders, users, hackers, preachers, and probably more. That's all I can think of at the moment. Anyway, let's go around and introduce ourselves. I am Robey Lawrence. I run a web development business called Bearded Friend. My beard is a little bit less this month, but it'll be back soon enough. But I'm always your friend, so there you go. Paul, who are you?
Hello, I'm Paul. I don't have a beard, although I did have one earlier today, but I shaved it off. But I'm still your friend as well. I'm just your beardless friend. Beardless friend. So, anyway, as I said, I'm Paul. I'm from, I run a company called Gold Coast Business Websites, where we build WordPress websites and on the Gold Coast. What? And I also run a side business called WP Genie, where we look after WordPress websites. And that is me. Thank you.
Cool. Nik, who are you?
Who am I? I've often asked myself that question. So today, I will be Nik. Yeah. I'm Nik Cree, who owns a web development, design and development agency called Positive Business Online. I live up on the climbs of Mount Tamborine, 20 minutes off from the Gold Coast. And I see Paul as I drive down the coast fairly regularly once a week. And my sort of specialty really is hanging out online, and I've got lots and lots of virtual friends, and I very rarely meet anyone at all. So it's good to have yet another virtual meeting. So that's me.
Excellent. And Stephen, who are you?
I'm Stephen. I do have a beard. I didn't have one this morning. No, I work for Envato. It's hard to explain exactly what I do there. A lot of different things. As well as working for them, I also have my own sort of side business that's sadly neglected around selling plugins and things like that. So I'm based in Brisbane, work from home. So they're the main parts, I guess.
Okay, cool. We'll ask you more questions to get a bit more information out of you. So
sure.
Put your seatbelt on. First question is, what did you do out of high school? What was your was it something you were really dreaming that you'd do? Was it calling Paul on the phone? or did you just have a supermarket job like I did? What's the story?
So my first job after I finished uni was working at Snooker World down at Broadbeach, from like midnight till 6 a.m. sort of shift. At the time I came out of uni, because I did IT, there were almost no jobs around, so it took like about 9 months to get a job. But then I got a job for a library software company, and I worked there for about 10 years, which is pretty cool.
So do you play snooker?
Not anymore. I used to play a lot. Not much to do at 4 a.m.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
I do notice that you're probably quite a keen sort of Kanaka player, you know, those shakers.
These. They're actually a Chinese musical instrument. I'm not sure their exact name, but my wife's Chinese, so they're Chinese equivalents.
Chinese maracas.
Yeah. So yeah, we got lots of stuff in the back there. Don't look too closely.
So when you're working for
you've got more stuff in the back than any of us have got.
Yeah, I need to do something about that. It's a bit messy, but hey.
Does that mean you're widely read and you're always referencing guides on sort of PHP and Ajax and JavaScript all sitting there behind you?
Yeah, no,
Or is
none
that
of
your old
those.
university library?
None of those. I think somewhere I've got like a PHP MySQL book somewhere from like 10 years ago or something, but not in that bookshelf. I don't know where that is now. Sadly out of date.
So did you
Side
have
point.
a passion in software development that led you to your career with the library, or?
Yeah, so I did IT at uni, and basically that was just the job I went into. I'm working for it's an Australian library software company. Like I think 70% of schools in Australia use their software in the library. And I guess I've sort of been software ever since, although I made the shift to web maybe 10 years ago. And I did some other IT stuff in the middle as well. But mostly it's always been around software one way or another, especially like websites, but also plugins and that sort of stuff. So yeah, I guess I love software.
So when you first got into web, did you go straight into WordPress, or was there another step in between?
There was another step in between where I was MySQL and PHP sites and a little bit of JavaScript. And at some point I thought, wow, I'm learning lots of stuff here. I should get a blog and I can blog about it. And so I started a blog using WordPress. And after about one post, I went, which was the introductory post, I went, oh, I'm not going to blog about web development. I'm going to blog about tweaking WordPress. And and then I started writing plugins to do stuff that I wanted to do. And yeah, it sort of all flowed on from that.
Yeah, cool.
What are some of your what's some of your plugins that you've created?
I won't tell you about the notorious ones. I'll keep them secret.
I was going to say that word notorious, but I didn't.
Noteworthy?
I did have one plugin that basically killed my website in Google because it had more than I had like the powered by thing in it, and it was linking back to my site, and it was on like a couple of million web pages, all on dodgy websites, because that's the sort of audience it was attracting. Not that it was anything too bad. It was just related to way back in the day. There was this thing called do follow, because the links in like the comment section, WordPress doesn't put a follow. It puts the no follow on the attribute on the links. So when you go and you put your name in and it links up back to your website, you're not getting any Google juice for that. So way back, I did a plugin around making it so that you could opt in and have link juice applied, and lots of dodgy websites ended up adopting that. It wasn't what I intended it for. So I've got my website basically kicked out of Google because I had too many backlinks pointing to it. That's my notorious one. My other plugins, they're nothing too big. I've got one with about 20,000 users, which is just 6 lines of code so that when you in the back end of WordPress, you can put the title in and it won't show it on the front end of WordPress for widgets. So if you've got like some sort of image or ad code and you don't want to have a title show up on the front page, but you want to instantly see what's in that widget in the back end, you can do that. And I've got some other plugins. I've got one that I sell an extension for, which is around user-generated content. If you've got users putting in the same thing again and again and again, I've got a plugin that gets rid of the duplicates. And there's an extension you can purchase which will redirect them, I guess, basically for the page rank, Google SEO sort of stuff. So, and I've had other plugins as well, and I'm just getting the sun coming right into my face.
Full-time supporting it?
No, I've basically let them all run down slowly over the last few years, where I'm keeping them up to date. I'm still selling the one I'm selling, but I'm not putting any effort into improving it. So it's pretty much just a little part-time thing on the side. Wow, I'm getting a lot of sun come through.
I can see that. You're very bright.
Do you sell that through
Queensland.
Envato?
No, I sell that through my own website. And I actually got a high five from Matt Mullenweg once for that reason. When he came out to Melbourne, we were in a bar after he came and did a talk, and afterwards we all went down to the pub. And someone who was a CodeCanyon user sort of cornered him and was talking about CodeCanyon, and he called me over because he knew I worked for Envato and said, "Oh, you guys should talk." And this other guy asked, did I sell stuff through CodeCanyon? I said, no, I sell it through my own site. And Matt went, high five me.
Wow.
Hey, I'm just going to run over and close the blind over there. So back in a sec.
So do you think you'll ever reactivate your passion for writing plugins and make it more of a full-time thing without saying anything that will jeopardize your current position of work there? Can you see yourself in the future doing anything sort of more with WordPress and and that whole ecosystem?
Maybe. I wouldn't want to write it off. And for a long time, I would have loved to have done that. But I quite enjoy my job, and it's quite busy. And I guess over the last maybe 9 months, I've been trying to switch off a bit more, because for the longest time I would just work, side business, sleep. And then that was it, with a little bit of time for my family. But I didn't have any relaxing time in there. So I'm actually trying to work to get that back into my schedule and not be just focused on job and side business all the time. So one day maybe, but not this week. That's for sure.
Your first role at Envato was different
Gotcha.
to your current role at Envato. Is that correct?
It's sort of migrated a little bit over the years. So I've been there 3.5 years now. And when I came in, I was running the review team. So every time a plugin or a theme gets uploaded to ThemeForest or CodeCanyon, and there's other items and other item types and other marketplaces too. But when that stuff gets uploaded, there's a team of people who review it. And in the beginning, I was running that team. But we quickly worked out, and not just for me, but for other people in similar roles in the other marketplaces like Audio Jungle and Photo June and Graphic River. We basically worked out that the people who are running the teams were also the people with the domain expertise. And we were too busy working out how to fill the gaps with somebody going on leave and getting someone to cover them, and not having enough time to actually focus on the issues. So we sort of split that role, and I took on more of just the domain expertise around WordPress and themes and plugins at the time, doing project work around it and fighting fires like when vulnerabilities were reported to us, etc. But not running the team anymore. So somebody else came in to do that. And I guess more recently it's shifted a little bit as well, with me not even focusing on the plugin side of things anymore, just ThemeForest. Basically because there's too much going on, and we've been adding more people into the mix. So the bit that I'm looking after is sort of getting more narrow. And there's still way too much to do in that narrow space. So I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah, cool.
So how many people work at Envato? What's the team? It's Australian-based, isn't it?
Yeah, so Envato is based in Melbourne. I would guess roughly half the company is based in Melbourne, and the other half of the company is around the world, working from home. I am not sure the exact numbers, but last time I checked the numbers in Slack, it was like about 470 people in Slack. Now, some of those might be temporary people in working on a project or something, but it's getting big now. When I joined, it was about 250. So another 203.5 years. So yeah, growing fast.
So do you manage people? Are you a people manager, or you just do your own thing?
Yeah, I do my own thing these days. So I was managing people when I first started, the reviewers, but then the job split, and now I'm basically project work. For a long time, I was doing security vulnerabilities half the time. That took up a lot of my time. Because when they're reported, we need to replicate them and then get them fixed with the authors and then get the fix rolled out and email users and all that sort of stuff. So that was a pretty busy job. But someone else is doing that at the moment, and I get to focus mostly on project work, which is good. A lot of different types of projects. Some of them are directly around WordPress, so like maybe requirements, what are our requirements and that sort of stuff. Some of them are more just processes for reviewing or structure of the team and that sort of stuff. So it's a wide variety of things.
That's more of a business development role as opposed to, working directly with people.
Yeah, maybe. It's really hard to sum it up in terms that make sense outside of Envato. So I do contact authors sometimes and get them to fix stuff if it's bad enough and it's been escalated. Sometimes I'm really hands-on with technical things. Other times it's much more business-oriented stuff. It's a real variety. And I always struggle to explain what I do because it just doesn't pigeonhole well. I solve shit, basically. I think that's a technical term.
Yeah, no, I read that in the Oxford.
Yeah.
So moving on from Envato, you're pretty well known among the WordPress community in Australia at least, but probably globally as well. How do you think that came about? Were you just getting involved in other WordPress forums, or is it just because you work at Envato?
I'm tempted to make a joke. I don't know. I'm so ugly, everyone just noticed me. Or maybe beautiful. I don't know. It could go either way.
Let's go beautiful.
But I think really it was just turning up. So I know a lot of people in the Australian WordPress community, and that's just from going to WordCamps and then meetups. And you go along and you meet the same people again and again, and they become friends. So I think that's helped me a lot. There's no denying when I started working for Envato, that was like a big, a boost. Now I wasn't just someone who turned up at meetups. I was somebody who worked for a company that everyone knew, which is sometimes positive and sometimes negative in the WordPress community. People aren't often rude to my face, but you do get a little bit of negative reaction for various historic reasons. But largely, I think that helped, and I wouldn't say I'm well known overseas, but I do know quite a few people who are well known, even though I'm not. And I think some of that's from just interacting with them online for 10 years or so. So for example, Jeffro from WP Tavern, I've known him online for 10 years or so from way back in the day. But then there are other people that I've actually been over to WordCamps and Pressnomics over in the States, and then you get to meet people, and that's the same thing as what I was saying before. You turn up and you talk to people, and then they remember you. So I don't think I'm well known, but I do know a few people, and it's just from turning up and being a person, I guess.
I think the thing that made the biggest impression of me is that every time I met you, there was always pizza and beer involved.
That's thanks to Envato, who were sponsoring that for a long while. So thanks, Envato. You got me a friend.
Yeah. Nothing like food and a drink to solidify a friendship.
Yeah, that's right. But that's it in a nutshell. It's like, turning up and seeing people, and like beer and pizza actually does help to bond and talk through things. It's good to have there. But if you go to a meetup where they don't have that, that's not the end of the world either. You still get to meet people and chat to them. And I think it's more the turning up than the beer and the pizza. But yeah, that does help for sure.
So you mentioned before that you're looking to try and get a bit more balance into life and have a life outside of the life that you've had. So what are some of your interests and some of the things that you're looking to do to just relax?
Yeah, it's sort of, well, I guess I got into a rut for quite a few years where I just had no downtime. It was always work or my hobby, which was WordPress, and there was nothing else besides family and general life. There was no, I didn't watch TV, for example, or anything that most people do. But I guess earlier in the year we got a Netflix subscription, so I've started watching TV. Started with my podcast. I used to listen just to WordPress podcasts, and I listened to hardly any WordPress podcasts except for yours. The rest I still download them, but then I end up deleting them after a while because I'm listening to English football or some sort of documentary sort of things or something around. I'm really into George R.R. Martin's Song of Ice and Fire books. Not so much a Game of Thrones. I've seen some of that, but I'm not I'm more a book person than a TV person. So I listen to some podcasts around that as well. So yeah, that's the sort of stuff I do now, which is good. A little bit more balance, but still not enough balance.
You've got kids as well.
Yeah, and they take up a lot of time, obviously. So with all of that, I'm kept pretty busy. I'm not on the street stealing drugs or anything like that. There's no time. Too busy.
Have you traveled to China? Your wife is from China. So
yes. Yeah, I lived over there for several years anyway, and we go back every couple of years or so for a big trip. So yeah, I've been there quite a bit. It's a great place. Some people hate it, some people love it. I fall into the category of people who love it. So,
and do you love it because when you're over there, you can't Google anything?
Last time I went, Google still worked, but it's a bit hit and miss. Twitter doesn't work. YouTube doesn't work. That's probably, in some ways, I'd still like to be living in China. It's more interesting than what I'm used to here in Australia. Life's really interesting there, so I'd like that. Except there's maybe some food safety issues there, and there's a lot of pollution, and of course the internet. If I lived there, I'd have a VPN and I'd have access to everything I need. But for holidays, it's a bit frustrating when you lose access to all the sites. But in some ways, it's good because last time I went back just before Christmas, I had an enforced break from Twitter. And when I came back, it took me like about 3 months to get back into it. I actually had a good break from being owned by my phone, and I think that was actually good for my health. You should all give up Twitter for a while. It's hard.
I never really started, so
I
need to give up.
I think Facebook would be my equivalent. I'm more on Facebook than Twitter.
Yeah. Whatever it is.
You're everywhere, Robey. I see you everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's just all my minions.
I found Slack with the hardest thing not to get sucked into, like the Slack channel for various WordPress things, and just sort of start to follow conversations. And half an hour later, you think, geez, what did I actually come here for? I was doing some work. I was going to ask you a question, and it's just gone.
Yeah, that's it. Between Slack and Twitter, I lose a lot of time.
So
you need to delete Facebook off your phone. I made that decision about a month ago.
What?
I deleted Facebook off my phone. So I'm only forced to see it through the browser, like on my computer. So whenever I'm on my computer, I might just check it. I check Facebook maybe once a day now. I don't. Yeah, because I was just an addict. Hi, I'm Paul. I'm a Facebook addict. So, because seriously, I think there is a problem with that. Well, personally, I think I was sort of getting a little bit mentally disturbed by it. So I made the decision, and you know what? There's actually a life outside of Facebook. It doesn't all end. Like, there's still, the world doesn't implode. So
no, it's good to know, Paul.
Yeah. So that's why I'm not really on there that much myself.
That can be our tip of the day, hey? Give up some form of addictive social media that you're spending too much time on. Yeah.
That's right.
This is like Lent. This is a religious experience, Lent, where you give up something. So.
Yeah, that's exactly. There's actually camps, and because like, how like kids and stuff are getting just digital devices. Okay, my kids got digital devices when they were young, so that parents could live a lot more easily. But there's actually there's been studies that show that kids are starting to develop a little bit slowly and all that sort of stuff. So there's actually camps you can send your kids now to completely. There's no digital stuff, just nothing. So, yeah, so there's this whole
normal camping, isn't it?
This whole anti
out in the bush. There's no reception. There's no point taking anything electronic.
We still can play games and everything.
Yeah, I suppose.
Get distracted by that, but so there's this whole anti technology as well thing going on. Anyway, we digress.
Stephen.
And here we are chatting on another quasi social media sort of vehicle, and not actually sitting down together having beer and pizza.
That's right. Whoever's listening right now, stop this. Put down your phone. Stop listening to us. Go outside and run around and have a life.
And go to Domino's and Dan Murphy's.
Yeah.
Get some pizza and beer.
That's right.
Speaking of meeting people and podcasting and that kind of thing, Stephen, you've started recently a video interview podcast of your own called WP Conversations. I was lucky enough to be one of your guests, and
indeed,
that's not an intentional plug, but I just wanted to see where you think that's going, and if you've got some next episodes lined up.
It's not going anywhere fast at the moment. I was really into it around the time of WordCamp Brisbane when I actually started shooting the first couple, including yours and Dee's, and I did one more at the meetup with Luke Carvest, and I've got another one lined up with Ricky, but we just haven't got around to shooting it yet. So I think one of the problems with it is I haven't ruled out doing this style of interview, but I really prefer the face-to-face in-person interview, which sort of limits who I can have on, and also is harder to arrange. It's not just jump on a call or Skype chat or Zoom or whatever. It's okay. We need to meet up in person and have some time to set it up. And it's still going. It's just very, very slow between episodes. I think we're probably 2 months since the last episode. So, but yeah, I've got one ready to do with Rick as soon as I can arrange it. I might go into WP Engine's office and hit him up there at some point. He's invited me in to do it. It's just finding the time, which is a bit difficult at the moment.
Oh, while you mentioned WP Engine, you may have noticed, listeners and viewers, that we are now using Zoom instead of Google Hangouts. That is thanks to WP Engine. They are sponsoring us a Zoom Pro account. It just seems to be a lot more stable, better quality, lower lag than Google Hangouts. And they seem to like what we're doing, so they thought they'd help us out. That was an intentional plug.
Cool.
Carry on.
I need to talk to them about WP Conversations as well and see if they can sponsor that.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm not actually looking for sponsorships at the moment. I'm just keeping it really simple for the moment. While it's in person, I don't need sponsorships. If I do start doing this sort of things, then I will maybe.
Might need a travel budget.
Yeah, travel budget would be good, but I think that's not on the radar anytime soon. I need to be clever about it and arrange interviews around my existing travel.
Yeah. So when's the next Envato camp?
Well, there are actually Envato meetups all around the world, which are focused on people selling through Envato, but not just WordPress stuff. It's all audio and video and all the different content types. So they're happening. There's, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 a year, maybe more than that now, I think, in different parts of the world. But there's no Envato camp like an equivalent of a Word camp. That doesn't exist.
No, okay. Yeah, that was a joke, but I wasn't aware that there were actually Envato meetups. That's kind of cool.
That's why I sort of paused before I answer it, because I thought you're probably not wanting that answer, but I thought I may as well just explain it, because there are actually Envato meetups.
Yeah,
they do
cool.
exist.
Interesting.
So if you weren't working where you are now and weren't a developer and didn't enjoy computers and didn't enjoy coding and you had another life, what would that be? Who would be
Silence.
alternate Stephen Cronin?
I don't know. That's a good question. If you took me out of this job, I could pick another job, but I don't think I could pick something away from computers. That's too hard. It has to be something to do with computers. Too addicted.
So you've been with computers ever since you were born, almost.
Yeah, when I was born, they had the big computers in a room where you had punch card system. I didn't have access to them then. Yeah, my dad used to work with them. He was in the Air Force, but I didn't get into computers. I guess we didn't have one at home until I was like 13 or 14 or something like that. Maybe 15 before we had one in the house. So I was a late starter compared to Robey, for example, I guess. But I've always been working in computers ever since. So don't take that away from me.
What was the very first computer you had? It's like cutting off a limb.
Man, we had a Texas Instrument at one point, like Texas TI, where you put a cartridge in it, and you could there were games, you could buy game cartridges, or you could program stuff in BASIC. Not that I got too far with that, but that's going back a long way. Then I had a 286 and a 386 and a 486, and I remember when we got the 40 megabyte hard drive. It was like, wow, 40 megabyte hard drive. How are we going to fill that up? Because before that we had a 20 megabyte hard drive.
And now you carry it around in your phone.
Exactly. Yeah, it's come a long way.
Does anybody remember the Amigas?
Yeah, I never had one, but I remember them.
Those.
Yeah, I had friends who had them.
They were awesome. It was an awesome computer. Well ahead of its time. Just amazing.
Yeah, I had friends, and they seemed pretty cool. I was a bit unhappy I didn't have one. But anyway, I ended up just with a PC after a while, and that was enough for me. So, yeah.
Okay, so with computers, if someone was to pull you out of your current job at Envato, what other computer-related job would you go to?
Probably something in web. It'd be something in web for sure. Maybe then I'd focus on my side business, and if I could make it start moving at a certain pace within a certain time frame before the money ran out. Maybe that would be a good kick in the pants to go and do that. Or I'd probably look for something else in the WordPress community, some other job around there. There's probably a job somewhere I could do to help someone. Or if worse came to worse, I go back to the government and run websites there. Because that's sort of fun too. I enjoyed my job there, but working for government also has a lot of complications. So less enjoyable.
Because they need an SSL certificate on their main site.
Do they? Which site are we talking about?
Australia.gov.au.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, I work for the Queensland government, so
Right.
I'm not sure. I think it's all SSL now. I'm not 100% sure. Pretty sure about that.
Oh, I just looked it up the other day when I was doing something to do with SSL at a event I was going to, and I just happened upon their site, and it had this little insecure symbol at the top. So, you know.
Government websites are a real. It gets really complicated. Some of them are really well run. Some of them are just not well run. I remember when I worked there having arguments with the devs, the system guys, about needing to have 301 redirects because that was actually what you needed for web, and they're like, "No, we're just going to do this other thing," and getting into arguments about, well, you can't block YouTube videos because we're putting YouTube videos on the website now. You have to take that out of the firewall rules, and you get into all sorts of silly, complicated nonsense. But at the core of it, it's quite an interesting job because government websites have a lot of content. It's very complicated. They're good websites to work with. It's a good experience. Just a lot of complications with it as well.
I'm pretty much out of questions. Does anyone else have any more questions for Stephen Cronin, or does Stephen Cronin have any questions for us while we're together?
Stephen, if you were one of us, what would you ask yourself at this point in time?
Oh shit, it's turned into a job interview. I could be one of them. Sorry, did that come out loud? That was a thought.
It did, it came out, yeah. Happens all the time.
I don't know. I actually quite enjoying interviewing other people, but I hate interviewing myself or thinking about what to ask myself. I don't have a good answer for that at all.
That's the answer. That's good enough.
Yeah. No more questions.
I do have one more question, actually. Who should we interview next who we haven't interviewed yet?
Oh, that's tricky. There's a bunch of people I could put forward. I can give you a list of 10 people you should put on.
We do
you haven't had.
You have a list, but we'd like to get your.
Have you got Anthony Horton on there?
Yes, he is on our list, actually.
Okay.
But now that you've mentioned his name, we'll move it to the top.
Yeah, you don't have to. I almost sort of think it'd be good to go outside a little bit. And Anna from eFox would be sort of cool to have on.
Yep.
She probably won't be on your list at the moment, but she's working with, or she's involved in the Gutenberg project, and I'm not sure exactly how hands-on, but she's been doing testing around it. She's been involved in at least some of the direction of it. So she'd be sort of really interesting to talk to, and probably isn't someone that would be suggested. So that'd be my recommendation of someone not already on your list.
Yeah, cool.
But I could give you another 10 names.
Well,
if you get stuck. Oh, no, not Anna. Not Anna. No.
No?
Don't interview Anna.
No?
Is that one of your next guests?
Yeah. I need her first. With the you know how you interviewed Rick, but it died and it didn't go live. Literally the week before that, I was supposed to interview him, and we postponed it and said, "No, we'll do it later." And the next thing you're interviewing him, I'm like, "What? You've stolen my guest!" And now I've just volunteered my guest after that. What was I thinking?
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. We'll keep you around.
Yeah, no.
Are we doing the next episode tomorrow?
Yeah, I think so.
I think I'll just give up, close my podcast down, and send all my guests over to you guys. Yeah, no, it's all good. We're not really competitors much.
Well, if you can't beat them, join them. You're welcome to be a host. I've
still got lots of stickers around. I've got WP Boss stickers around all over the place. I keep peeling off my shirt.
There's still plenty left.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for that. I'm going to Sydney tomorrow, so I'm going to take some down to Sydney with me and just sort of stick them around the airport at various locations.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, Stephen. It was good to have you on. And I'll be looking forward to the next time I come up to Brisbane and see you at the next Brisbane meetup and share beer and pizza. And
are you going to be there tomorrow, Stephen? You going to be there tomorrow night?
Yeah, should be.
I'll see you there.
Oh, cool. See you there then.
Coming up.
And thanks, guys. Thanks for inviting me. It's a nice, fun chat. And see you all around sooner or later.